Hi, my friends. I am here to do a little reading for the election, which is happening today here in the United States. Highly doubt anyone out of the States is watching this, but you never know. And I asked the question, I've already laid out the cards. I think I was just a little anxious about what they would say. And I think there's good news here, and there's also a really clear message about what we are to do today and how to really go through this day. And it looks like we're going to be doing a little waiting, but that there's goodness ahead, and we're also going to be called to do the practical work of envisioning and building together going forward. And yeah, I think it's going to be a little bit of a wait. I hope I'm wrong. But let's see, let me read these cards with you. And sometimes more things come up when that happens. I laid these out after my walk. I've clarified them. And then I got cleaned up. I cut my hair. I've puttered. Googled what animal is in one of the cards, things like that. And I don't normally do that. But I think it'll be good. I think it could be a more to the point kind of reading here. All right, so let me just proceed into this. My question is about the election, and my question is for metal dogs in particular, those of us born in 1970 in the Chinese Year of the Dog, which will end in February, early February. So if you were born February on in 1969 to 70, anyway, check my math. But I'm November 18th. I'm going to be 50. I have friends and peers and colleagues turning 50. And I've been asking about what we are meant to do in this historical moment that we're in. And the tarot has been really helpful for guiding me and calming me. And I think this reading is very calming here. Okay, so first of all, the recent past, we get the Six of Cups, which is a really great card about generations, youth, and the elders. And we also, this is a card about love, about equality, and it's also a card of nostalgia. And because I think of the role that nostalgia has played in our political system, both for the Make America Great Again, and then those of us who felt shocked and missed perhaps President Obama or an idea that we once had about our country and who we are as a people. And I think that we can see, I see those elder elephants there in the background, the kind of darkness, sorrow in them. And I also see the younger generations here, the children, you know, and our responsibility for young people. And they are playing over what is an Ace of Cups with a beautiful water lily in it. But there is this clarification that helps us see further what we have going on here. We're in this trapped feeling. This is our past. This is clarifying that Six of Cups. This is the Eight of Swords. See in the mirror, she's tied up. Those crows representing swords are wrapping her up in string. But in fact, this is in her head. This is a perspective of being trapped and of being disempowered. So this would have been how we've been feeling in the recent past. We also get the King of Cups. And he is an intellectual, emotionally mature person. He could be intellectual. He seems like a really cool, laid back, calm person he has his finger on that cup. This would represent his emotions. He's in touch with them. He's also quite private with his emotions. And I see this person waiting and staying in their heart. And I identify with that for sure. And thirdly, to clarify our recent past, we get death. We get transformation. We get rebirth. This is something has ended recently in the past. We all felt this. We felt this ending. It's probably why there's this sense of nostalgia and worry in those elder elephants. But the death card means that something ended. I would say it needed to end. You know, our ideal of what we were was not equally distributed for people of all races and genders and sexualities and abilities in this country. And so, in a way, this really difficult process of the past 4 years has transformed us in a very powerful and very uncomfortable way. And we've needed to maintain that calm of that King of Cups. Now today looks good. We have 3 of Cups. This is friends, community. This is a party. This is a celebration. I see these little raccoons voting. I actually see these coons as voting. I see that one of the cups is tipped over. It looks a little chaotic. And I see their little frowny faces. I see a little bit of worry today. And like in particular, this little guy just sort of grabbing a hold of that cup, looks a little anxious. You know, maybe if you drink, you can't wait for it to be 5 o'clock somewhere. And honestly, 5 o'clock, it's a good time for all of us to wait. I don't drink anymore, but I do look forward to 5 o'clock. That's when we get the returns from Florida. So clarifying today, our current moment, we get the Queen of Swords. She is someone who takes no shit. She is receptive. The feminine receptive is often associated with this. She is looking to Florida right there. I see her waiting. I see her patient. She is patient as the King of Cups was. And she has her hand on that sword. And the sword represents truth. She is using her mind, right? She's put in the thinker's pose there, if you know your art history. I think Rodin. And she is thinking. So she is a person who is using her mind. And, you know, our minds may be racing, but we may be as anxious as this little raccoon here wanting a drink. But there is also a kind of calm. You know, we have done all we can. That's another thing that I see in this. We are in a moment where we are intuitively connecting. When I walked out into the woods today, the light was expectant. It was the light of those blue clouds coming in. It was like there's a rainbow somewhere kind of light. I heard birds, and the birds are also a part of that expectation. And sure enough, the rain came. And by the time I got home, it was pouring on my house. There was thunder. And so the feeling out there was very positive. And I thought, well, it could be the woods just looking forward to rain. But I feel, and my intuition tells me, that everything's going to be okay. In fact, I've been looking forward to this day. And this is further affirmed here by the Knight of Cups, where we get this heart-driven, classy offer. This is a love offer. And in the context of a day of election, I see love prevailing, although not without some pain, right? Okay, this card is really interesting for our hidden influences, or things that we may not be conscious of, but which are around us. We get the sun, this mountain lion on this branch, leaning over that little window to see the sun that is just breaking on the day. And the sun is a card of absolute joy, absolute wish fulfillment. And it also indicates that we are getting late in the cycle. Let's see if there's a number on the major arcana here in this deck. But the sun is almost to the end of a cycle, but it's generally signifies to us wish fulfillment. And this mountain lion is incredibly confident. So we could take this as a kind of around us, a sort of ethos of confidence. I also see here clarifying in the background, these hidden influences, the world. Something is coming to an end. There's an end here, and I think the end is the end of a regime. We get the Hierophant, we get this happy priest. The Pope is usually what he looks like, but in this deck, he is a grounded yogi. There is an ascension there behind him. This is a spiritual institutions guy. And so what this card tells me is that our institutions are actually working right now. I feel confident in our institutions working when I see that card appearing in the background. A lot of people have gone to a great deal of trouble to make sure that our votes are counted and collected and defended. And our institutions, our laws, our traditions, that card tells me they will hold. But I also see here that we get the Slowpoke Knight. Here he is with all his pentacles, all his 3D earthly. I see these as votes. He's voting, but the counting of those votes is going to be slow. We've been told this, we can expect this, but he is grounded, he is barefoot, he is confident. And so there's a steadiness, but that is the card that tells me that we're going to have to wait. In addition to that card, the card signifying us, metal dogs. This is us waiting. This is the Hangman, a little possum. The Hangman signifies waiting, and it is kind of out of your control, that wait, and you're actually waiting for a change of perspective. And we all know that the little possum is good at playing dead. But that kind of level of waiting, that's really all we can do. We can just go about our lives today and do the next thing and then the next thing, just like this Slowpoke Knight, just one step at a time through this day. To clarify who we are, I feel good about us further. We are confident. We are led by women of color. We are looking forward to being led by a woman of color in Kamala Harris. And again, I get the sense that so many of you have been participating in getting out the vote. This card further communicates that to me. The Seven of Pentacles, somebody who has just been working very patiently and waiting for the results to come in. So there's waiting, but there's also the sense of confidence, security. We're in our homes, we are okay. And this other 9 here, the 9 of Cups, I see this shift of perspective here, where on the ground here you can see the chest of gold, and we could see that she's rich and therefore fulfilled, but I actually see her having a spiritual fulfillment and the shift of perspective from one that is really about pentacles and wealth and security that is in the material world, and a shift towards love, heart-centered openness to the universe. I see the sun, absolutely, that underlying influence just shining out of her chest. So that's us. That's those of us coming here to this reading. Thank you to those of you that have done so much work to get the vote out. I've done my part, just giving my students extra credit, encouraging them to vote, letting them talk about their feelings about the electoral process. They're going to get credit if a majority of them vote today. A good majority. I think 35 out of 45 of my students need to vote. So that's been my strategy for getting out the vote. And I also voted. Okay. The next card is the people around us. We get Temperance. And this is good because this is steady. This is transformed. There's a lot of transformation that we've been going through. We saw that in the Death card in our recent past. The Temperance card is telling us about really integrating a new perspective. So if we, the Hangman, are waiting for that new perspective, we can see the people around us, and We might think about our families, our partners, our students, the electorate, the whole nation. It depends on how you want to think about it. But there is a process of steady, patient integration and really coming to terms with what that is going on around us right now within the people. I like the clarifications of this. For one thing, we get the Lover's card. This card indicates a choice. It is it can be a romantic choice, but of course in a context of a reading on an election or the political climate and how we handle ourselves within it, this card is probably more about that the people around us are choosing. This is us voting. I see in the image an alliance across race, across gender. I see a unity that is very passionate and very constructive. And it's a deep connection that we feel. And I think when I meditate on and put my energy towards what may be happening right now, I do feel us rising to our highest selves, right? That was in the present, the Knight of Cups here. This is the classy love offer, I like to call him, but he is also a heart-centered. We're in a moment where people are really rising to their best selves. You know, we all have one vote and we are all using it. And I think once we have voted, that this card indicates to me that the people around us will be able to reconcile and find unity. I certainly hope so. In addition, we get, to clarify the people around us, we get the Ace of Swords. Here is a card about receiving a new truth. So this is really good because we've had so much dishonesty. We've had trouble trusting the truth. And here's the truth coming in and into the people in our electorate, in our communities, in our families. We do also have amongst them a Five of Pentacles. This can be a sense of being left out. People have been feeling quite hurt, harmed, fearful. And when you can see in this card is that there's actually a huge key right there to open that door, and that all that she needs to do is get up and pick up that key and put it in the lock and open that door, and she can join in, right? And I think that I think the election is going to go to Biden and Kamala Harris, and I think that there's going to be people that feel that way, but we're going to be able to come together, and the door has a keyhole in it, and you have the key if you are not happy with this election. And I think that what we all want is to be invited into a much more just society, right? That we're going to want this unity, and we can make it. And that's what the advice is here in my reading of it. For the basic first card, we get justice. All right, I can see that those scales are just a little bit off balance here, and the bat rising magnificently against that energy under those flowers and that night sky is spreading her wings. It's just a very magnificent image of justice. And this is totally about karma, about rising to your best self, about making decisions coming from integrity. And I think that when I saw this card, I thought, okay, so things look good, but we still need to do this. We still need to stand up and protect and in a very public way demonstrate our attentiveness to justice. You know, we don't just go back to sleep after this election. And the clarifications further help me to understand this. So clarifying our advice, we get the Three of Swords. This doesn't look good, right? This looks like, oh shoot, we're going to get bad news, we're going to get hurt. But this is not the future. In this place of of advice. I interpret this to be about, we're scared, we've been hurt, we're afraid of getting hurt again, but don't get down in that depression. Don't, because this is going to take a long time. It's going to take a while to count this. It's going to take a while to certify this vote. And so you might feel some anguish, but this card is, when we get it in an advice place, it's about moving through that anguish, feeling it, feeling the grief. I think we might want to support each other and anyone that around us who's going with this. I mean, some people have been traumatized by what has happened under this regime. It has been more dangerous to be gay than I feel than my entire life. And I know that's true for other underrepresented people. I would never fly a rainbow flag outside of my house because I don't want anybody to know where to come when they feel like they want to vent their frustration. So that's how I interpret that, of like, hold yourself through the feeling, through the suffering, through this waiting. But in addition, Two of Wands, here we are, we're waiting, we're envisioning, we've got the world there, we've got technology, we've got plans. We're manifesting and envisioning our future. I learned this from a really great rant on Starhawk's Facebook. Plan to win and then start visioning, how am I going to participate in creating justice in the future? This is our advice, bring justice. It's very awake, it's very engaged. And so a part of that is to see ourselves the day after, the day after, what are we going to do? And further advice, very solid little Page of Pentacles, just the little everyday grounded 3D things. You just do the work, just the one step at a time. Stay grounded in the work. Pentacles are about work. So we've got justice, we've got Three of Swords, honor your feelings, we've got visioning, and we've got the little steady Page of Cups, Page of Pentacles. We just do it. Just do the things. This thing, and then the next thing, and then the next thing. The future. For the future, we get the Knight of Wands, who is a Wolverine, who is a willful, fast, passionate, lusty little knight. So when I saw this, it made me a little worried about the future. What this tells me is, some of what we're anxious about is that there's going to be some violence, and the Wolverine as an animal, I learned in my Googling before I turned the camera on, the Wolverine is like a bear, but they're little compared relative to the bear, but they're physically powerful. So a minority with power and a capacity for violence. So this concerns me that we're getting this for our future. I hope not. I hope that this is us, carrying out justice, our small numbers, our sense of powerlessness, right? That we kind of see here in our recent past, right? We saw the feeling of being trapped, these little worried raccoons drinking at the cups. So, we may feel small, we may feel disempowered, but in fact, we have the power of Wolverine. And of course, Wolverine is one of the X-Men, represents the underrepresented, those sci-fi characters who are, what are they? They're like deviants, but they're genetic anomalies. I'm not coming up with the correct word, but so Wolverine is a superhero that defends justice and comes from an underrepresented minority position with power. Now, to clarify the Knight of Wands, very reassuring card, we get strength. This is our capacity and the people's capacity to still those animal instincts. You can see her head is half lion, but she is very gently sitting with the Lamb there. So this ability to control our inner beast, and instead coming from heart. There's tons of information in this reading about the heart-centered way of being prevailing here and keeping us calm, right? Remember, this is us. This is our shift of perspective into the cups, into the heart. This is the people around us, finding this love-based unity, facing the truth, picking up that key and putting it in the lock, and voting, right? And yes, our hearts have been broken, and we're not gonna pretend otherwise. We're going to honor our feelings. So as we exert this sort of higher will to control our Wolverine instincts, this is good. We are able to lie with the fragile and the delicate parts of ourselves and one another. So that's a very good clarification on the future. We also get the devil in the future. Now, the devil card concerns me. This is not evil, but the devil is really kind of our base selves, right? So strength next to the devil. What does that tell us, that the devil is appearing in our future? Well, we might be tempted to do things that are not in our highest, coming from our highest good. It may be that there are forces out there that are coming really from a sense that you don't deserve justice, that you don't deserve equality, that we don't deserve to make the new world that we have hopefully voted in. We're going to have to hold the people that we voted in accountable. And we may be told, oh, no, thanks, you gave us your money, you got us elected, you voted, you got out the vote, and now we're going to go back to serving the usual powers that be. So that could be something that happens in the future. That could also be further about some uprising from the other side in this matter. We'll see. We will see what happens. What I do see is movement forward. This is a 6 of Swords. Movement from stormy waters into still waters. So this is good. We want to see movement. We need to be a part of this movement. And we know from our advice that we have work to do. Whatever happens, we have work to do. Now, the last 2 cards that I want to mention help me further feel optimistic about what is going to happen. The underlying basic card here is a reiteration of the Knight of Cups. Here, the swan representing that classy love offer, really our best selves, that, we're reaching in to our best selves. And we get the 10 of Swords with that as a part of that. This is the end of this, of whatever. We got the world in the underlying influences here. This, right? The world, that's the end of something. And this is the end of something of that. This reiterates that. The sun is rising. It is a new day. So, I see the sun, the moon, whatever, what is rising is that Knight of Cups. So there you go. There's my complete leap into the tarot to dare to predict what today is going to look like for us. It's going to be a wait. There's going to be anxiety. We have work to do ahead to enact our vision, and I think we're going to do it. I think we're going to have movement. It's going to come from our best selves. Where the feeling of being small and powerless is going to be replaced with the strength of the Wolverine. And we will overcome that voice in our heads, that devil that says, you don't deserve it. You need to go work more. You need to prove yourself more. You're not good enough. That's a lie. That is just shame. And it has really worked for a long time in our society here to keep us working in isolation. But I think we're changing that. I think we're going to muster our Wolverine side. So there you go. We will see if I have any psychic abilities at all, or if the polls are right and all of that. And I wish you peace. And I'm with you in spirit as you go through this day. And I know that we have the strength to rise to our best selves, to offer this classy, beautiful, generous love. The grace that we are capable of as a people is coming forth on this day and on every day forward, no matter what happens. This is what we, Metal Dogs, can do. Okay, thanks for listening or watching, or I hope you have a great day.